forget from whence you came, and the world's gonna know your name. What's your name, man?
Alexander Hamilton. My name is Alexander Hamilton. And there's a million things I haven't done.
What makes Hamilton so relevant to today, especially today, compared to when it first came out?
Here's the crazy thing about this show. Not a word of the show has changed since 2015, but the world has changed since 2015. And I have seen different parts of the show. I think because the show brushes up against the origins of our country and the contradictions and the flaws in the origin of our country, and the fights that we had then are the fights that we're still having now. Different things resonate depending on where we are in the world. I remember seeing the King George number in London during Brexit, and when What Comes Next happened, the audience squirmed in a different way than they may have in the United States in 2015. We are in a moment of reckoning with the racial sins and systemic oppression that are at the root of our founding. And we are seeing young Black and brown leaders protesting in the streets. And so the language of revolution that's in the show is resonating in a different way. I've seen This Is Not a Moment, It's a Movement, which is a lyric from the show, on signs all over these protests. And I'm humbled by that. I'm past patiently waiting. History has its eyes on you. Those lyrics resonate in a different way because so much of the country is standing up and saying what they stand for and what they won't stand for. And that's, again, the turbulence of the origin of this country, the turbulence of how it shifts and changes and takes steps forward towards equality and takes steps backwards, is something that the show deals in. And so it's not a word has changed, but the world has changed.
I feel the same way I felt before we opened Off-Broadway. You know, there was this thing that I believed in with my whole heart and soul. We sacrificed to be a part of it. We just, we made it with everything within us. And then we had to wait to see what the other half of the conversation was, what the audience thought of it. I feel that same way. I don't know how if Hamilton will rise to meet this moment. But I certainly I wait with bated breath. Like I'm sure Disney Plus does too. We believe in it. We believe in it. We hope that you do too.
I think great art always steps up, and it's the beat and the melody. It's like it always fuels the fire, and I think this is so. I'm confident. Look, the lyrics to Hamilton on posters for protest did not start in the latest Black Lives Matter protests. I mean, they were there for Me Too. They were there for everything. I mean, this is the voice of a revolution, and the revolution continues. And so I feel very strongly that this is a meal that will sustain the people that are fighting for change in this country.
I will say that we're living in a time where we are coming together to seek racial justice, not just in America, but all over the world. And I don't think it's a coincidence that it's come after a time of being where the world has gone on pause because of COVID-19, that we've had time to sort of look at ourselves and reflect, and we're facing an administration that has failed its people over and over and over again. So we're coming together to say, hey, this is enough. Enough is enough. And I think more than ever, I hope that Hamilton, like other pieces of art, but I hope that it can inspire people to listen, to educate themselves, to take it upon themselves to educate themselves, and to also advocate on behalf of communities that need advocating. So, if anything comes out of all of this, I will be so happy that one young person would be inspired to get out and register to vote by seeing Hamilton. That's like my hope. Like, let's just get people out there using their voice.
There is a spirit of youth-led revolution in the show that I think we should all be paying very close attention to right now. I think the most vocal participants in asking for change in our world right now are young people, and I hope they are bolstered by this show and reminded that their voices are in fact the ones that will create change. I think there is an implicit understanding, if you enjoy this show, that you also value and want to protect the contributions of brown bodies who are the performers of this show. And so in the fact that, at least in America, we're being confronted with very publicly the ways in which that is not true, I hope this show also inspires you to use your voting power and the ways that you can participate in government and your right to protest in order to change those.